Winning. Peace and love, family. Peace and love. It's your boy Chris Enlightened coming back again with some more spiritual vittles. And today I'm going in on growing your altar. Ooh, this is a good one, family. This is a good one. This is a good one because most people aren't aware of how much their altar will grow over time. I've said this a bunch, but as you grow spiritually, your altar grows with you. In the beginning, you have a small altar. Maybe put some fruit on there, some bread, some cheese, a little water, and you may have some names of your ancestors. If you don't have any pictures, like me, you'll just have some names. But as I started to grow spiritually, my ancestors from the other side started to realize that I had my altar up, and they started making their presence known in my life. I'll just tell you my story. When I first erected my altar, I just had both my grandmothers on there and my grandfather and two of my uncles that had transitioned. That's it. That's it. For the first 6 to 9 months, it was like that. But after my year having my ancestor altar up, my ancestors all the way back to the 1800s made their presence known in my life. They made their presence known. I got a call from one of my great aunts, my Aunt Francine. She never called me before, and she's yet to call me since. But she said she had something for me. I went over her house, and she had this big old book. It was encased in this old leather. And I never seen anything like it before. And when she opened it up, it had all my ancestors dating back to the early 1800s. Their birthday, their death day, their children, their grandchildren, all the way up until my grandmother was born. And my grandmother was born like in the early 1920s. So I say all this to say, whenever you started working with your ancestors, they're going to give you signs that they see your work, and that they appreciate you, and they'll make themselves known. My wife, on the other hand, she didn't have anybody but her two grandmothers and one of her great grand aunts. Now she has over 32 ancestors dating back to the early 1800s as well. So it was really serendipitous how it occurred. But her ancestors made their presence known in her life. And now she has pictures. I have names. She has actual pictures of her ancestors. But as she started doing rituals, meditating, saying mantras, using magic, really going forehead first in her ancestor work practices, her ancestors made their presence known. And the same thing will go for you. Don't think it's going to happen overnight. I've had some people say, it's been 2 weeks, I've been burning ancestor money, and I haven't had any wins. It's going to take time. It's going to take time. Your ancestors know what's in your heart and in your mind. You can't trick spirit. It doesn't work like that. If you're doing it just for the turnaround for you, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You're doing it for the wrong reasons, family. Another way your ancestral altar will grow as you grow spiritually is after a while you'll start adding deities to your altar. And again, your ancestors, you can only go so far with human effort. And your ancestors only have so much power. But when you align yourself and your consciousness up, and you essentially tether your consciousness with higher divine forces, higher divine things start to happen for you in your life. It's up to you to try it. It's up for you to try it. I remember the first deity I put on my altar was Lord Ganesha. And he worked wonders in my life. I learned his mantra, and even more wonders started to occur in my life. The second deity that I put on my altar, and I urge you all to do the same. If you're really unsure about which deity to put on your altar, look up the deity of the day you were born. Whenever we spiral into this reality, we give ourselves cheat codes. And the deity of the day you were born was the deity that you came here to choose to work with. So whatever day of the week you were born, look up that day, look up the deity that resonates with that day, and put that deity on your altar and work with that deity for 60 days. Find out what they like, read up on their story, and I assure you, more than likely, that deity will there will be some characteristics about that deity that resonates with you. And again, don't sit on the sidelines and wonder, well, maybe that won't work for me. You have to create your own no system, family. You have to try it yourself. It's not going to hurt anything. You don't have to tell anybody. It's for your own reference. Nothing's going to hurt you out here. Those deities will look at you. They'll see you being diligent with your spiritual practices. They'll look at you through the eyes of the deity and watch you taking care of your ancestors on your altar, and they'll choose to help you. You know, it's up to you to give it a shot. Another way your ancestral altar will grow is you'll notice that you need more space. You start accumulating things that you're like, man, that look good on my altar. Just like you grow out of space in the home, your altar will start growing. At first, I had a small little circular table. Now I have a 4-level altar, and I'm running out of room on that. I may have to expand it now because I keep adding deities and ancestors keep finding me. So those are some ways that your ancestor altar will grow, and there are great ways for you to grow your ancestor altar. 3 things I always ask people, why I implore people to do when they set up their ancestor altar. Keep it clean. I have a little paintbrush that I use to dust off my altar. I wipe it down. I move things around sometimes every few weeks or so. I never let food, secondly, I never let food rot on my ancestor altar. I never do that. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. In the past, when I wasn't really taking my practices seriously, I let something go bad on my altar once and I felt real bad about it. And I'll never let it happen again, and I never will let it happen again. I was traveling a lot, and I didn't know about secondary ancestor altars and traveling altars. But when that thing went bad on my altar, I realized, like, okay, whenever I travel, I can't leave. If I'm going to be gone for longer than a week, I can't leave just stuff on my altar like that. So I created a traveling altar that I take with me when I travel. And if you're wondering about what a traveling altar is, there's 2 different type of traveling altars. You can have a picture of your altar, some candles and things like that, or you can bring actual things off of your altar with you and erect that on a small scale just to get it in. You know what I mean, family? I think I may have done a video on a traveling altar or portable altars. I'm sure I have. Go back in the archives on my channel and check that out. So on that note, family, peace and love. I know you're out there winning, but I want you to challenge yourself to win a little more. Start working with these gods, your ancestors, and higher divine forces to help you win out there, family. They're here to help you, not to hurt you. But you have to make the choice. Consciousness is defined by the ability to make a choice. If you can't choose to do things, you're not conscious. It's just as simple as that. So on that note, family, peace and love. Winning!